Unmute public input. All right, Madam Chair, you are now live. Madam Chair.
Present. Hi, how you doing? How's everyone going? Woo. Had to get a couple of things going. Good to see everyone. Nice to see you, Mr. Troy, Jean. Good that everybody's here. Mostly everybody. Good to see you, Tiffany, Daniel, Brenda, Aaron, Brad, Marilyn. Nice to meet you. All right, Chris and Susie's here. We're gonna have Brandon come in today, which is really exciting. Super glad for Brandon to come back. All right, so we're gonna start today with, let's see, meeting facilitation. Here's our script. All right, good afternoon. I'm Chair Tanya Rodriguez, and I'd like to welcome you to the October 25th, 2021 Human Relations Commission virtual meeting. We're coming to you live from the Cherokee homelands, where the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians remain a sovereign nation to this day. We will now call our meeting to order. Whew. It's good to see everybody. Duties of the Human Relations Commission of Asheville include, but are not limited to, make policy recommendations to the City Council which promote and improve human relations and advance equity in the city. Support the city's Office of Equity and Inclusion, provide a forum where residents can raise issues and complaints relating to human relations in the city, engage the community regarding the utilization of city-funded programs and policy for the promotion of human relations, and promote and improve human relations and advance equity in the following areas: public safety, education, cultural opportunities, economic development, health and human services, and housing. All committee members and staff are participating virtually. We appreciate your patience as we temporarily conduct our HRCA meetings remotely. We are streaming live on our virtual engagement hub, which is accessible through the virtual engagement hub link on the front page of the city website and is also linked on the committee page. We also have an option for the public to listen live by phone by dialing 855-925-2801 and entering meeting code 9723. Once again, that number is 855-925-2801 and enter the meeting code 9723. For those of you who plan to speak during our live public comment today, you will need to hit *3 to be put in the speaker queue. For those of you out there with us today, welcome. I will now go through and introduce all the commission members and staff who are participating virtually. For our commission members, please make sure to mute your microphone if you are not speaking. When you have a question or would like to speak, click raise hand in the bottom of the screen. And when recognized by the chair, unmute your microphone. Please remember to mute your phone after you are done speaking. As I call your name, please say a quick hello. First, I'd like to thank Brenda Mills for this amazing script. It's one of the best things that we have had in our commission and has helped the meetings flow so wonderfully. So thank you, Brenda, for bringing this script, and thank you for being here in our interim director. And thank you, Brad and Aaron, for being our legal here today. And I would like to welcome Gene Troy for the first time. I'm going to be welcoming him and thanking him for his presence a few times today. So as I call your name, please say a quick hello. I don't see Alfred Green. Ivan Melchior isn't here yet. Commissioner Tiffany Debolo.
Hello.
Hi. Tanya Rodriguez is here. Alex Nava is not here yet. Commissioner Dolores Venable isn't here yet. Commissioner Chris Weinbrenner.
Here, I'm present.
Thank you. Commissioner Susie Chandler.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Am I muted?
Commissioner Melanie Noyes. Commissioner Daniel Young.
Here.
Commissioner Emma Nicole Worthy. Commissioner Crystal Michelle Reed. Doesn't look like they are not here yet. Commissioner Marilyn Rayner, welcome.
Ms. Rayner, if you could unmute and say your name, that'd be great. Also, Madam Chair, Ms. Dolores Venable is here. She's on the phone number ending 77.
Oh, okay. Thank you. While Commissioner Rayner figures out how to do that, will Commissioner Harvey Dean Harold, doesn't look like we have him on the screen. Thank you. Our Commissioner, City Council Liaison Kim Baroni could not attend due to a scheduling conflict, and we'd like to thank her for her service with our commission. Our city staff members are Brenda Mills, Aaron Miles, Brad Branham, and today we'd like to welcome Gene Troy, who's a program manager for the North Carolina Human Relations Commission. We're real excited to have you here, Gene, and we look forward to your presentation. And I believe this is now where we start your presentation, and to go through the whole.
Madam Chair, you have the approval of the minutes for August 19 and September 16. And if you could do those separately and remember, you need to do a roll call vote. Back up, I'm sorry. You do not have a quorum at this time, so you can go ahead with Mr. Noy. Yes, you do.
Quorum is present.
Yeah, sorry.
Present.
So if you could do a roll call vote for each of the votes for the minutes, that would be great.
All right. Thank you very much, Brenda. I appreciate your guidance and leaderships. Approval for minutes. Approval for minutes for 8/19/21. Has everybody seen those and approve of them? I'll give maybe about 30 seconds to look those over, or if everybody's looked those over, just kind of nod your head a little bit, and then we'll do a roll call vote. Okay, great. So roll call vote for approval of minutes, starting with.
Madam Chair, you need a motion to accept the minutes, and then in a second, and then you can take your roll call vote.
Awesome. Thank you. Motion to accept the minutes.
So moved. This is Susie Chandler.
Second, this is Tiffany Tableau.
Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Susie. All right. Proceeding with roll call vote for approval of minutes of 8/19/2021. Tiffany Double-O.
Yay.
Chair, yay. Dolores Venable, Commissioner Dolores Venable.
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Weinbrenner.
Yes.
Commissioner Susie Chandler.
Yes.
Commissioner Melanie Noyes.
Yes.
Commissioner Daniel Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Ellen Rayner. Marilyn, if you're having a hard time figuring your mute out, if you can just give a thumbs up for yes and a thumbs down for no for approval of the minutes if you've seen them. Nope, can't hear you yet.
Ms. Rayner, I'm not sure what you did before, but hit *6. You should be able to unmute yourself with *6.
Okay, how's that?
Perfect.
Yeah, there she is.
Great.
So, would you like to join us in approving the minutes for last month or 2 months ago?
Yes.
Thank you very much for your yes vote. Approval for minutes for 8/19/2021 is so moved. Approval for minutes for 9/16/2021 HRC meeting.
Madam Chair, I believe you missed over Vice Chair Brandon Oliver.
Oh, Brandon. Brandon is not on this list. Thank you.
Yay.
I will put this on there. Got it.
He's the first name on the list, so he
Thank you,
should be
Commissioner
there.
Tiffany.
My apologies, Commissioner Oliver. All right, moving forward for a motion for approval of minutes for 9/16/2021. Would like to say,
This is Melanie Noyes, seconded.
thank you. So moved. Roll call vote for,
I'm sorry, Madam Chair. Who made the motion and who seconded?
I made the motion, Melanie Noyes second.
Okay.
Roll call vote for approval of minutes for 9/16/2021. Commissioner Tiffany Debelow.
Yes.
Chair, yes. Alex Snellen not here yet. Commissioner Dolores Venable.
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Weinbrenner.
Yes.
Commissioner Susie Chandler.
Yes.
Vice Chair Brandon Oliver.
Yes.
Commissioner Melanie Noyes. Commissioner Daniel Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Marilyn Rayner.
Yes.
Wonderful motion, so moved. So next item up for business is to start, please note, to help our audience follow along, I'll say each section of the agenda aloud. Again, I ask committee members to raise hand, be recognized to speak. Please state your name each time you comment. Just a reminder that the public is listening on the phone, and this timely reminder keeps them up to date on the order of the meeting and who is commenting or speaking. Orientation, next item up for business is orientation presentation by the North Carolina Human Relations Commission, Jean Troy. This is a 90-minute presentation. Jean Troy is the program manager for the North Carolina Human Relations Commission. He comes to us with 30 years, probably more, and a wealth of knowledge and wisdom. And we look forward to your guidance and direction with bringing us to a place where we join together and move forward as one commission, unified in human relations here in Asheville. Thank you, Jean Troy, and the mic is yours.
Thank you, Tanya. Hello, everyone. My name is Jean Troy. I'm with the North Carolina Human Relations Commission. I am a program manager for the commission, and as Tanya said, I've been here for a good long while. I was indicating to Brenda and Aaron and Brad that I have been with the commission 28 years. However, I have been in the human relations civil rights field for approximately 30 years because I used to work for the Florida Commission on Human Relations for about about a couple of years down there. So today we're going to be talking about the orientation, giving you the local human relations orientation. What is your role, the role of local human relations commissions? Because you definitely need to know what your role is as a local human relations commission in the city of Asheville. Go to the next slide, please. Here is the agenda that we'll be talking about today. I will first be talking about the creation of local human relations commissions, what creates you, the types of local commissions that you are as compared to some other commissions throughout the state of North Carolina, the duties and responsibilities of commission members. I'm not going to talk about the role of executive director for a commission because you do not have a director, an executive director, so I won't be discussing that. However, I will be talking about the role of commission members of local human relations commissions, what local commissions can do. The next slide. Important to do items that you should do as a commission. What types of issues should local commissions can deal with? And what I will be talking about there will be the old human relations issues, current human relations issues, and emerging human relations issues. I will also give you an idea of what the current statewide trends affecting human relations is in the state of North Carolina. I will then talk to you about you planning to develop a local human relations commission work plan. And then I will talk about my role, my office's role with you as a local human relations commission in Asheville. Next slide. Creation of local human relations commission. The next one. Whenever a local commission is created, they're created by one of the following things. You're created either by an ordinance, a city or county ordinance, by bylaws, by an executive order, or by resolutions, or by motion. Now, for you as the Human Relations Commission of Asheville, you were created by the city ordinance that the city council decided to do. So you were created by the strongest type of legislation that allowed you to be created. And so that is a good thing because it takes a while. If you have an ordinance, it's a little bit harder to get rid of a commission if someone tried to get rid of a commission, because it is considered to be a law, ordinance for the city. Next slide, please. Types of local commissions. The first type is the volunteer commission, and that is what you are as a commission in Asheville. You do not have a commission that is what you have one that is in the city government department. You don't have a department per se, but you do have a link to a department. The commission members have a direct relationship with the city officials. The commission conduct your own programs so that you come up with any types of event ideas, workshops, seminars, those kinds of things. You come up with them and you are the ones that conduct them. You may have a staff liaison between the commission and the city council. And I believe your staff liaison person is Brenda Mills, who is your staff liaison. But you also have a council liaison, city council liaison. I don't know the name of that person, but I was told by Tanya and Brenda that you do have a city council liaison as well. The commission may have directives that come from the city council as to what kinds of things that you can and cannot do. And I will be talking about that a little bit later in this presentation. The second type of local human relations commissions is a local commission that has a local human relations department. The local human relations department staff maintain the commission government relationship. The department staff conducts and produces the commission's programs. So if you had a staff or a department, they would conduct the programs that you decided you wanted to conduct in the community. And then the local human relations department staff handle day-to-day human relations issues. There are some commissions in North Carolina that have human relations departments. There are Charlotte, Winston-Salem, Durham, Orange County, Raleigh, Rocky Mount, Wilson. They have staff departments. And so they do day-to-day activities when it comes to human relations issues in their local jurisdictions. Next slide. Okay, we're going to skip over role of director. Okay, the role of commission members commissions. The commission members advise their city council on human relations issues affecting their city. In other words, you advise them to any types of human relations issues that are going on in the city of Asheville. All right. You serve as a resource to the community. In other words, if you happen to know people and they start talking about things like, well, I had a situation that was dealing with housing and I feel like I've been discriminated against. Well, you as a commission member are a resource to them because you can be able to tell them that there are different types of places where they can go to see whether there has been discrimination done by being investigated. And that office would be my office. We investigate fair housing discrimination complaints. So they can contact our office to see whether, we can investigate their allegations. So you can be a resource to the community that you serve. The commission member ensures that city services are implemented fairly to everyone. And then the commission members may have to provide training on human relations issues to the community. Now, don't freak out. Please don't freak out on that one, because we're not necessarily saying that you yourselves have to give the training. But what we are saying is that you would be responsible in finding persons who have expertise on the human relations issues that are being trained to the community or being presented to the community. So don't freak out on the part that says that you will provide training. What it means is that you would make sure that you sponsor events and provide the expertise, those persons who are experts in the issues that you are presenting to the community. Next slide, please. what commissions do? What do local commissions do? If you look at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things that are listed there, a lot of the times what happens is that most local human relations commissions have at least 6 or 7 things that they are to do as a commission, and most of those things that are listed here are probably on the duties and responsibilities that you have as a commission, because a lot of the other local human relations commissions have the same things listed on their ordinances as well as on their bylaws. So if you look at these 6 things here, where it says promote, provide equal opportunity and diversity appreciation programs, monitor, study, recommend, resolve local human relations problems, monitor, report, deal with local hate crime bias activity, become a crisis intervener of human relations issues for the local community, be a trainer for crisis intervention to local human relations issues, make an annual report to the governing body concerning the local human relations commission's events, activities, and trainings. I'm pretty sure that most of them, if not all of them, are on your bylaws and in your ordinance that establish you as a commission. Next slide. These are the same things that I indicated before, and like I said earlier, these, if some are not, if not all of them, are located on your ordinance as well as in your bylaws, and we're gonna be talking about them in a few minutes. Next slide. Before I talk about those duties that you are responsible for, there are a couple of things you as a commission for Asheville need to consider doing. The first thing you're doing tonight, which is to schedule a human relations orientation training. That is the first thing that you need to do. But the second thing you need to consider doing is to schedule a retreat to develop and implement a local human relations work plan. And when you develop that work plan, when you do the retreat, you've got to make sure that you create it, and you also got to make sure that you implement it. And I'm going to be speaking to you later on in this presentations about developing a commission work plan. The next thing that you need to consider doing is schedule other commission training sessions as needed. Now, I can tell you that my office provides fair housing training, crisis management training, hate bias, hate crimes training, and right now that we have suspended the cultural diversity training because we are in the process of updating that training. But we can provide you with the other 3 trainings for free. And so if you want us to conduct those trainings to your commission, which is fair housing, crisis management training, response training, or hate bias, hate crime training, we can do so and try to schedule that for you whenever you are ready to do that. The next thing that you want to consider doing is becoming a hate violence information network affiliate. Reason being is because when you were created, one of the thought process and you being created was that you would be, if any types of civil unrest or civil disorder happened, you would want to be ready to be able to handle it. But you also, if some type of hate incident happens in your area, you want to be able to report that information to this office so that we can log it down, because our office is responsible for logging hate crimes and hate bias incidences throughout the state. And that information is normally asked of the North Carolina General Assembly on a rotation basis of about 2 to 3 years, where they'll call us to go up to the state legislative building along with law enforcement and other agencies to talk about the possibility of having a hate crime law in North Carolina, because right now there's not a real specific hate crime law that is in North Carolina. And so we ask you to be a Haven member so that you can be reporting any type of hate crime or hate bias incidences that happen in your local area to us. The other thing that we ask or we consider that you do is that you send representatives to the statewide meetings of the local human relations commissions in North Carolina. Our office sponsors meetings with all of the North Carolina commissions on a quarterly basis. And at those meetings, we provide a presentation that talks about a current local human relations issue that is happening in the state. And we have experts on the state level and local level to talk about, some of the things and some of the steps that are being taken in order to deal with a lot of those human relations issues that we present to everyone. And so we've had 2 statewide meetings this year. The third quarter meeting was canceled. However, we are planning to try to have one in December. And once everything has been finalized, we would send an email to Brenda and to Tanya, letting you know, what date it will be, what time it would be. And more likely it's going to be a virtual meeting just like this, because we used to travel to different types of cities and go to those cities since they sponsored them. But because of COVID, right now we're doing everything on virtual. But we will send that information to you, and hopefully you can attend that meeting, not only to hear the information, but also see that there are other local human relations commissions that are doing the same thing that you are going to be trying to do in Asheville. If you look at the list of local human relations commissions in North Carolina, which I hope you have a copy of, we have a total of 25 commissions. We just added the Pitt County Human Relations Commission, which I met on last Thursday. They are very excited and very eager to get to work as far as dealing with human relations commissions, human relations issues in Pitt County. And so there's a total of 25 commissions right now in the state. Next slide, please. Some more things. You want to create positive interagency relationships. In other words, you want to be able to go to other city agencies in your city, as well as to organizations that are in your city that may have the same initiatives that you are trying to do in the city. And you want to be able to have a good relationship with them, because you want maybe they have some plans of events or seminars or workshops that they want to do that is similar to what you want to do. And in order for you to have that good relationship, you want to be able to establish partnerships with them and possibly be sponsors or co-sponsors to those events that are similar to the events that you want to do in the community. So it would be great that you create interagency relationships. Each one of you on this commission are tied to some other organization. And so you want to be able to be that representative for the commission and to create the positive relationship with them, so that when you come back with the commission, you can say, well, look, such and such agency is talking about doing an event on minority health disparities. Let's see if we can co-sponsor and help them along with their event. You want to be able to reach out to all communities so that you can be able to see what is going on in those communities, whether there are issues that need to be discussed and studied upon. reach important understandings with all groups, and understand the community's history and the present perceptions in the community. What you may want to consider doing is doing a human relations survey and sending that survey out to all different types of people, organizations, businesses, churches, the like, and find out what is the present perceptions in the community when it comes to human relations issues. Because your ideas of what's going on may be totally different than what the community's perceptions are when it comes to human relations issues in the city of Asheville. Next slide, please. Now, I hope that all of you have a copy of your ordinance out as well as your bylaws, because what I'm getting ready to do is I'm going to point out to you where your duties and your specific duties and responsibilities are in your ordinance as well as in your bylaws. If you go to page 3 of your city ordinance and go to section 185.25, where it says duties, membership, and rules of procedure. If you look there, it has down 8 different things or 8 duties that you are to do as a commission. These 8 things are your duties and responsibilities as a commission, as to what it is you can do as a commission. Here it says, make policy recommendations to the Asheville City Council, which promote and improve human relations and advance equity in the city. Support the city's Office of Equity and Inclusion in its duties and responsibilities. Provide a forum where residents can raise and bring to the HRCA's attention issues and complaints relating to human relations issues in the city. Engage the community and gather community input regarding the utilization of city-funded programs and policies for the promotion of human relations. Promote and improve human relations and advance equity and public safety. In the second one talks about the same thing with education, art, and cultural opportunities. The next one talks about city-funded economic development programs and opportunities. And the last one talks about including city-funded health and human services programs. And is there one more? I think there may be one more. Hold on, see. Number 9. So you got 9 things. Promote and improve human relations and advance equity in housing. So these are your duties as a commission in Asheville. So if someone asks you what are your duties and responsibilities, you can go right here and share with them what your duties and responsibilities are as a commission in Asheville. Now, if you are to go to your bylaws and go to page 1, 2, 3, 4. Go to page 5. Page 5 of your bylaws at the top. And it says it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. However, although it has 5 of them, it covers the 9 duties and responsibilities that are indicated in your ordinance. So it's the same thing. The same thing that's mentioned in your ordinance as far as your duties and responsibilities are the same things that are indicated in your rules and procedures for the commission, which means that if they placed it in there twice, this is what you are to do as a commission. Okay? They're the same thing, even though they've shortened it, because E covers 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 on the city ordinance. The letter E on item E on the bylaws cover 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 on your city ordinance. Okay? So, like I said earlier, if someone was to ask you, you as a commission member, what are your duties and responsibilities as a commission in Asheville? Those are the two places where you can go and show them these are the duties and responsibilities of the local Human Relations Commission. Next slide, please. What types of issues should local human relations commissions can deal with? That's a very good question. Next slide. Due to the growing population by all races, national origins, ethnicities coming birthed in North Carolina, there are growing concerns of old human relations issues, constant human relations issues that have not been dealt with, and emerging human relations issues that are on the beginning over the horizon. Now, let me explain something here. When it says here, due to the growing population by all races, national origins, and ethnicities coming and birthed in North Carolina, the coming talks about people who were born in North Carolina, left North Carolina to work somewhere else, to have a life somewhere else, retire from where they worked, and then moved back to North Carolina to live their retirement. The birth part talks about people who are born and raised in North Carolina. And so what you're talking about is you're talking about a growing population of all races, national origins, and ethnicities that are either moving here or they are born here and they stay here. And as you know, North Carolina has grown to be one of the fastest growing states in the nation. It is the number 11th fastest growing state in the nation. And so this statement is true that there are growing populations throughout the state of different races, national origins, and ethnicity coming and or birthed in North Carolina. A local human relations commission can be the organization that can deal with and or recommend resolutions to those old, current, and emerging issues affecting the community. Next slide, please. Some of the old human relations issues: separate but equal laws, voting rights discrimination, hate groups, fair housing discrimination, public accommodation discrimination, employment discrimination, racial ethnic profiling. These are some of the old human relations issues. Next slide. Constant human relations issues: housing, employment, and public accommodation discrimination, rise in hate groups, voter rights discrimination, handicap accessibility discrimination, biased disciplinary action in schools, racial ethnic profiling by local law enforcement. These are your constant human relations issues. Next slide. Emerging human relations issues: immigration issues and reform, rise in religious intolerance and or discrimination, economic job issues dealing with workplace violence, racial ethnic profiling by law enforcement, sexual orientation, gender identity discrimination, health disparities by race and ethnicity. These are emerging human relations issues that are going on. Next slide. If an organization, such as a local human relations commission, that can do things towards improving with the old, constant, and emerging human relations issues in your local communities, the following things can happen to help your local communities progress. The commission create a forum or forums where groups can come on a regular basis and access the state of intergroup relations and identify needs for action. The commission can request and develop continuous sources of financial support for programs to support cross-cultural sensitivity and positive intergroup relations. The commission can have programs of recognition, support, training from cross-cultural bridge builders, and the commission can continue searching for best practices in cross-group relationship building and a commitment to continuous improvement in this area. Next slide. Here are some of the current trends, statewide trends affecting human relations in North Carolina. And some of these things may be things that are happening in your city of Asheville. Before I get started, let me just tell you that there was a survey that was done amongst, at that point of time, 22 local human relations commissions. They were asked if they could give us the top 5 things, 5 human relations issues that you feel are affecting North Carolina at this present time. And so these are the top 5 things that those commissions provided to our office. The first human relations issue is dealing with housing concerns. And I can tell you that for real because that is a major concern in North Carolina. Under housing concerns, the local human relations commissions indicated that affordable housing or the lack of affordable housing is the #1 issue in the state. Also under housing concerns, the local human relations commissions indicated that fair housing is the 2nd issue under housing concerns. And other issues under housing concerns deal with equity in housing, gentrification, homelessness, and landlord-tenant issues. So these housing concerns is the #1 human relations issue in North Carolina. Next slide. Other trends that deal with housing concerns. Handicap discrimination involving requests for service animals and or emotional support animals. Design and construction discrimination. Disparate impact discrimination involving minorities' criminal records, criminal history, and arrests. Sexual harassment discrimination and race, color, national origin discrimination dealing with coercion, harassment, threats, intimidation, and or retaliation. These are trends that are under the housing concerns. The second human relations issue in North Carolina is community relation concerns. And under that, the commissions indicated that police community relations is the #1 issue concerning community relations concerns. Also under this issue, the commissions indicated that sexual orientation outreach and tensions in the community is the 2nd issue. And other issues that were mentioned under this concern were community outreach or lack thereof, and cultural and racial tensions in communities. Next slide. Other trends under these concerns were the Confederate monument debate and confrontations, increase in hate groups in the state, increasing in leafletting incidences, racial derogatory expressions, vandalisms, and anti-Semitic incidents, police shootings, beatings against Black ethnic males. These are the trends that are under the community relation concerns. The third human relations issue employment concerns. Under this concern, employment discrimination is the number one issue. And other issues that were mentioned: access to opportunity, equity, lack of diversity in city government and local businesses, and recruitment of companies to local areas for new jobs. Other trends under this concern was a rise in sexual harassment in the workplace, increase in racial and ethnic harassment at the workplace, and also workplace violence, which is not mentioned there, but that has another trend that is starting to show its head under this concern. The fourth human relations issue, immigration concerns. And under this concern, immigrant refugee services and needs are the number one issue. The number one issues under this concern. The other issue that was mentioned was national origin services and needs. And the trends under this was a rise in ethnic harassment in communities and in the workplace, increase in ethnic profiling by law enforcement, increase in violence towards persons who are perceived to be immigrants or refugees, an increase in fair housing discrimination towards immigrants. The number 5 human relations issues, actually they are issues because 2 issues were tied for 5th place that were on the survey. And the first one was education concerns. And under that concern, it basically talked about the lack of equity and the lack of retraining the workforce through education are major issues under this concern. Other issues that were mentioned under here were the lack of funding towards public education, inability to retain teachers because of low salaries compared to the national average pay for teachers, the teacher shortage, and lack of technological advances within the public school systems. And the other issue other concern that was tied with education concerns is transportation concerns. And basically, lack of public transportation and the lack of reliable public transportation in cities are the 2 main issues under this concern. Now, I know that's a lot of information, but one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about as a commission is that you need to develop a commission work plan. To develop a local human relations work plan, first of all, you must schedule to have a local human relations commission retreat. The retreat needs to be at least now 3 hours to be able to iron out any issues concerning what is discussed at the retreat. List all the human relations issues that are affecting your local area. And out of the total list, you need to choose, it says three or 4, but I would go back to the current trends and list 5. Your top 5 human relations issues that you as a local human relations commission agree upon to focus on and deal with as a local human relations commission in Asheville. Once the top human relations issues are chosen, you need to develop a plan of action for you to take on the chosen human relations issues. So what you're going to need to do suggesting that the next meeting you have or the next time you meet is that you have a local human relations retreat, that the retreat be at least 3 hours, that you discuss among yourselves and give you a long list of local human relations issues affecting your area. And then out of all of those issues, come up with a top 5 list. What are the top human relations issues that you need to deal with in Asheville? And then once you do that, once you agree as a commission on those top 5, then you develop a work plan, a plan of action steps to take on those top 5 issues that the commission will do. Okay. Now, next slide, please. After you decide as a group on what the issues you want to deal with, you need to develop the necessary subcommittees to move the plan of action forward. For example, if you're going to be talking about housing or education or community relations, then you need to develop those subcommittees, and you need to make sure that you have enough people on there. Now, it just depends on what your issues are, as how your subcommittee should be formed. Okay. But also you need to develop an executive committee, and the executive committee needs to be of the chair, the vice chair, and the secretary, along with the staff liaison and the city attorney, or the attorney that's assigned to you. I think that would be Aaron. Is that correct? Brenda, is that correct? Okay. So that would be your executive committee. And Brenda and Aaron would be your advisors. Okay. So you would definitely need to have that executive committee along with other subcommittees that will probably come out of the retreat. You would designate those subcommittees in the retreat. Next slide, please. Now, I want y'all to remember this, okay, because this is very, very important. When you develop your subcommittees, all of you don't have to join every committee, all right? And I'm gonna say that again. All of you do not have to join all of the subcommittees. What you do need to do is you have to have some people that are on the commission on those subcommittees. You as a commissioner need to be on a subcommittee or committees. However, all commission members don't need to be on all subcommittees. And another point that I need to make sure that you are aware of and will take advantage of is that say that you have a subcommittee that is a housing subcommittee, okay? And you have about how many, 19 members, right? Or how many members? Yeah, 19. Yeah. So say you have about 5 or 6 members of the commission on there, but you need some more people on there. Then what you would do is you would get a couple of people from the community that are experts in housing, whether it be a realtor, a broker, a developer, person with the housing authority. You would get them on your subcommittee as well, because what you're doing 2 things. One is you're developing a subcommittee to be able to talk about issues of housing concerns, and 2, you are also getting the input from someone who is in the community and who is an expert into that area that you're dealing with in the subcommittee, which is housing. So you have a link, not only from the commission, but you also have a link with people in the community that is a part of the subcommittee. And they are helping you making decisions or recommendations to that issue, if needed be, if a recommendation is needed to be taken to the city council concerning housing. Same thing with education. You have an education subcommittee. then you would want to see if you can put people on there who have expertise in education, such as a university professor, a principal, a teacher, school board member, a superintendent maybe, or an assistant superintendent, or a counselor that will also be on there, as well as some of the commission members. Say if it's a community relations committee, subcommittee, and you have a pastor, and you would have a business owner, a director of a nonprofit organization, or a police, an executive on the police staff, city police department, or an executive with the sheriff's department, along with commission members on that subcommittee. That's how you would be able to not only have commission members, but you would have a link to community people who have expertise in the area that you are discussing in your subcommittee meetings. Next slide, please. After developing your subcommittees, all of you need to come together and will need to have some short-term objectives and long-term objectives. And these things need to be discussed at the retreat. And these objectives are to help you plan for the action steps needed in order to deal with the identified human relations issues that you come up with at your retreat. Okay? Next slide. Some of the questions that you probably will want to ask for your short-term objectives. What gains, progress in local human relations commission can we celebrate? What local human relations issues currently need attention? And what challenges in local human relations await us? These are questions, some questions that you would need to answer or place a response to when it comes to your short-term objectives as a commission. And then you would have to move forward on your long-term objectives. Next slide, please. These are some questions that would need to be asked about that. What can become a problem in the future? What first steps need to be taken now? And how will doing nothing now affects our community? And I didn't even put it down, but you could put down 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years from now. And these would be some of the questions that you would need to have a response to for your long-term objectives. And then you can move forward with the action steps that you plan to take on your plan, or your work plan. Next slide. I know y'all are wondering what is the North Carolina Human Relations role with the local human relations commissions, and I'm glad you asked that question. First of all, we can provide you with trainings, and I said that before. We can provide you with fair housing training. We're providing you tonight with orientation training for local human relations commission. We also can provide you with crisis intervention training, and let me explain to you what I mean by that. We're not necessarily talking about emergency situations such as flooding and those types of things. What we're talking about is human relations issues that could cause a crisis in your local area, such as murders, such as rallies from hate groups in your city, such as devastating loss in the community that affects racial tensions in the area. Those kinds of things are considered to be human relations crises. And crisis intervention or crisis response training, we provide that for you because we give you certain types of things steps that you can take to help deal with the crisis before the crisis, deal with the crisis during it, and steps you can take after the crisis has been over. That's the type of training that we can do. And that training we do is we give you exercises. We break you up into groups. We give you exercises as to what the crisis is all about. And we ask you what are your first steps that you need to do as a commission. And then we also ask you some other questions, action step questions that you need to take for that specific exercise example. The other type of training is we provide hate crimes and hate bias incident or hate bias training. And in that training, we talk about the federal and state laws that are available right now when it comes to hate crimes. We talk about the types of hate crime, types of things that are considered to be hate crimes and types of things that are considered to be hate bias incidences. We talk about the hate groups that are in the state of North Carolina. And we also talk about some things that you can do if a hate group was to come into your local area. Okay, those are the types of trainings that we can provide from our office to you. The other thing that we provide is crisis intervention assistance. We've always done that with Local Human Relations Commission ever since we're established back in 1963 as a Good Neighbors Council. We still provide that assistance today to you as a Local Human Relations Commission. We provide hate bias tracking. In other words, we send you on a monthly basis a log. We keep an annual log of hate crimes and hate bias incidences that have been reported to us here at our office. And we send that log to all of the local commissions so that they can have an idea as to what types of hate crimes and hate bias incidences that are occurring throughout the state. Not only that, we also send out what we call high alert watches to local commissions. When we see trends of hate crimes and hate bias happening in North Carolina, we would send a high alert watch to all local human relations commissions that would indicate what it is you need to look out for. Because sometimes we see trends happening and we want to warn you to let you know that you need to be alert in your area to see if something mentioned in that alert is happening in your city or your county. The other thing that I wanted to tell you about, and I've already indicated, is we provide the quarterly statewide meetings with all the local commissions to update them to current trends in human relations issues throughout the state. And like I said earlier, we've had 2 meetings this year. The third quarter we did not have one, but we plan to have one in the fourth quarter, which will be in the beginning part of December. Once that has been established, we send a flyer as well as an email out indicating when and what time the meeting will occur. And we will also send out an agenda, a copy of the agenda, the approved agenda of the meeting, so you have an idea as to what is discussed at that meeting. And so these are the things that our office can provide. Now, another thing too, we provide technical assistance to you in the fact that if there are certain events or certain workshops or seminars you want to put on, but you're not sure if you know of any experts that are needed for the seminars or workshops you are trying to plan for, you can contact my office and we can provide you with names of people who may have expertise into those areas that you want to do the events or workshops or seminars on in your local area. So we provide that. We'd also provide if someone provides complaints to your office, you know, for any type of discrimination, we can let you know where that information can be sent to, as to be able to help that person or persons out that is complaining or providing a complaint to you. So that's the technical assistance that we provide to you as the state, the North Carolina Human Relations Commission office here in Raleigh. I think that is the last slide, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, last slide. Now I am open for questions, and I thought I saw one go across from somebody that said, how long are the trainings? Am I correct on that? It depends on the trainings. If it's fair housing, it's about 2.5 hours. If it is crisis intervention, then it's about a 4.5 hour training. The hate crimes is about 2.5 hours. But the crisis management is a little bit longer, because we talk about, you know, the action steps before a crisis, during a crisis, and after the crisis. And then we also get into the exercises of examples we would give to each group, so that they can do the work for those exercises that they are given, and directions as to what they need to do for those examples. So that was about a 4.5 hour training. So the fair housing training can be 2.5 hours. The hate crimes training is 2.5 hours, and the crisis intervention or crisis management training is about 4.5 hours. So those are the times of training, times that the training would take place, how long they would take. Any questions, if y'all want to ask me while I'm here? Y'all can ask me. You don't have to chat it. Just go ahead and just ask me. Anything that we discussed.
Susie Chandler, Commissioner Chandler has raised a hand.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Jean. I'm relatively new to the commission, I guess, since this year. And that was really helpful, especially around things that we can be doing and what our expectations are. So I wanted to say thank you so much for spending your time walking us through that. My questions are around I would really love additional training, especially what you're talking about in housing and hate crimes and crisis intervention, particularly around the part that's helping us plan for our action steps. Do you have like a waiting list, or how long would we, need to give you to get ourselves prepared, to give you enough time to prepare for those kinds of trainings for our team?
Well, what we do is we ask, whenever you as a commission decide that you want to do the training, then email from Brenda or Tanya would have to be sent to me, and then we can schedule the date as far as when we can do the trainings. And the training, well, I can tell you this, the crisis intervention one, I would have to be there in person. Not necessarily hate crimes or fair housing, but the crisis intervention, I would definitely need to be there because that's a little bit more detailed. But what you would do is, as a commission, if you decide you want to have the training, you let Brenda and Tanya know. They send me an email. We try to find a date that is convenient for everyone, and then we schedule it, and then come do it virtually, or do it. If we do the crisis intervention, then that would be in person. We just have to be, have the safety protocols in place to be able to do that.
Okay, thank you for that. I had one other question around the retreat. And do you have like a retreat best practices or outline or something that might help us kind of guide that process?
I do not, because what we do is we try to inform all of the commissions that they get a facilitator, which Brenda and Tanya are trying to do. And then there is the facilitator will develop a plan as far as how to get to where you need to go. That facilitator will try to get you, to respond to those. And more than likely, they have a plan in place already as far as how to get the responses that are needed in order for you to get that plan developed and put together. Because I'm not involved.
That's very helpful.
I'm not involved with I'm gonna tell you that right now. I have not been involved in any retreats for local commissions because the reason why I'm not involved is because I'm not from Asheville. You are. You happen to know what the issues are in Asheville. And I don't want to be a part of that as far as trying to change what you want to do or give you any kind of ideas or whatever as far as what you need to look into as well as what you don't need to look into. There are issues that you have there that are totally different than the issues that are going on in the state. And so if you have those specific issues, then I don't need to be there to try to turn you away from those issues that you feel are specific for Asheville. So that's why I don't participate in the retreats. And that's why I also ask that there's a facilitator there as well as all of you commission members so that you can be a part of that and make sure that you buy into the plan that you're planning to have for your commission. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does. And I also imagine you probably don't want to go to 25 retreats every year.
That is true. That is true. That'd be a lot
Thank
of
you
travel.
so much.
That'd be a lot of travel.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Any other questions that you may have? Yeah. All right. Come on now. I'm here until whatever. Oh, Tiffany has a one. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Again, just echoing what everyone else said about just thank you for the presentation and being so thorough with the information. You mentioned earlier that there was a survey that went out and you did like community assessments on the things on the local issues. With that survey, was that like commissioned through the city or did those local human relations commissions conduct them themselves? Was there any support from the city?
Well, let me just explain what we did. We have a state human relations commission. We have commission members from across the state that meet for once a quarter. They, in 2018 and in 2020, they wanted to know what are the top human relations issues in North Carolina. So they asked me to send a question to all the local commissions at that time, which was 22. And the question was, what are your top 5 human relations issues in your local areas? Okay. They sent their responses to me. And I tallied up all of the responses. And what I gave you today was the tally of all of those commissions that responded to the survey. Now, I can tell you this. Those what you can do, and I can make this suggestion, and I think I may have made it to Brenda and Tanya. I'm not sure. They may be shaking their heads when I start talking about it. But one of the things that you could do. I mean, I want you to do the retreat. Don't get me wrong. Do that retreat and do the top 5 issues that you want to work on. But one of the things that you need to do after you do your retreat is possibly send out a survey to all throughout the city. And then once that is done, you tally it. You give a report to the city council, And then you might want to go back to your plan and revise it a little bit. But you need to first develop a plan, and you need to develop the list of human relations issues, the top 5 first, and then do the survey to see whether you're on track or not on track. If you're on track, if they've given you 3 and you've got 3 of them, but they give you 2 more that are not on your list, then you might want to revise your work plan to reflect those things so that it will be reflective of the survey that you got from the community.
That is an excellent point. And we do have a nice skeleton outline of our past retreats.
Okay.
But unfortunately with COVID, we weren't able to have our most recent one.
Sure.
But just to our commission members, we went with Desiree Attaway as the facilitator for our retreat in the past.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions? I know you got some. Come on. I'm gonna be here till as long as I can. I want to help y'all out as much as possible.
I believe Commissioner Nava, Alex Nava, had their hand up.
I did. It was in reference to the issues. Thank you so much, Mr. Troy, for taking the time to speak to us, to help us. I think it's some much needed guidance. My question was sort of along the lines of what you all were talking about, which was how, any advice that you had for identifying those 5 issues when we get together as a commission and a retreat. I'm a nurse by profession, and some of the things that we would do is something called like a windshield survey or like a community survey, which is going out to different parts of the city and trying to answer specific questions about the community and getting to know people that live there. But I'm wondering if you have any advice for us before we discuss potential issues on like how to identify them, what to think about, those kinds of things.
Well, one of the things, that's a good question, Alex. One of the things I think that you want to do is that you have an idea right now as to what some of the issues are. So you need to bring those to the retreat. If you got 10 of them, then put all 10 down. One person might have 10, one may have 2, one may have 7, one may have 4, but you got to put all of them down. And then from there, you got to break it down as to which ones are the most important ones right now. And you remember those 3 questions of the short term and long term? You can use those questions to break down which ones are important right now and which ones can be put off later, and use those questions to respond to that. That would be able to help you out as far as identifying which top 5 would be. But you've got to bring as many issues up front first before you can break down to get to the 5. And the questions that I provided in the PowerPoints, and I hope you have a copy of the PowerPoints, those questions may be able to help you in identifying what top 5 need to be, what 5 need to be the top ones.
All right, that's really good advice. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any more questions?
I have a question, Jean. This is just the best gift today, and I really appreciate you coming in and sharing your wisdom, knowledge with us. My question surrounds moving from talk to action. So what do action steps look like? So we can, I know there's a lot of talk, but when it comes to action, that talk starts to get really confused, and everybody has a different idea of what action is. And so one of the things that we've done is create and establish recommendations to bring to City Council that reflect issues that are happening within human relations in the city. Mm-hmm. So what are action steps that we can take as to translate talk into action?
Well, that's a good question, Tanya. And I'm gonna be honest with you, everybody asked me that question at each one of these orientations. So you, I mean, I had the same question in Greenville the other night. So that's not that's not a new question that I've heard before. Let me just give you an example. Okay. There was one commission that found out that they did not have a minimum housing code in their city. They found out, they got research on it and everything, and found that they did not have a minimum housing code. And so what they did was they did research and asked other cities that were local commissions similar to their city to see whether they had minimum housing codes. And a lot of them did. And they got copies of that minimum housing code. And once they got the copies of the minimum housing code, they put a report together, talking about all of the cities that had minimum housing codes and examples of the minimum housing codes that they had. And they presented that to the city council. They made a recommendation. Look, we have found out that that's not a minimum housing code for the city. And we have also found out that there are 7 cities that are similar to our city that do have minimum housing codes. And we are recommending that the minimum housing code be that an ordinance deal to put in plan or put an ordinance be voted on that there should be a minimum housing code and that there should be one developed and voted on by the city council. And when they did the presentation, not only did they have the commission members there, but they had already talked and requested a lot of community members and leaders to be there as well at that meeting. And what they did was they ended up having housing providers. They had a lot of pastors. They had a lot of business owners. They had a lot of civic leaders. They had a lot of community activists there at the meeting. And they only had 3 people from the community come up and say, look, we're here because we are in support of the commission's recommendation of having a minimum housing code in the city. And I guess you already know the result of what happened, but the result was that the city council ended up voting for a minimum housing code and developed one. I can only give you that example to say that those are types of action steps that you can do, and those are the types of a type of recommendation that you can make to the city council. Now, I do want to tell all of you this, though. Your job is to make recommendations. One of your duties is to make recommendations to the city about human relations issues. Now, in my experience, all city councils are not the same. And all city councils may not accept your recommendation. However, do not be disappointed if they do not consider and vote on your recommendation. But be of good cheer because you have done your job, because the duty that is indicated in your bylaws and in your ordinance says that you are to monitor, to study, and recommend to the city council. It doesn't say anything about it being passed. But the job is that you hope it's passed. And if you present enough information to them and have enough support from the community on that recommendation, there's no way they can't pass it. Okay?
Thank you very much. I believe Commissioner Weinbrenner had their hand up, and then Commissioner Tiffany Jumpa.
Thank you, Tanya. Thank you for being here, Mr. Troy. I was wondering how many HRCAs in the state of North Carolina work in support of a governmental office of equity or similar type office?
That's a good question.
Because I'm down with a lot of what you're talking about, but I think some of the issues need to have a lead on them. And part of our charter is to support a robust office of equity and inclusion. And I heard you say that some HRCAs are governmental bodies and some have other type.
Yes, that's correct.
Origins.
That is correct. Let me tell you which ones right now. I can tell you which ones that have an Office of Equity Inclusion. Durham, City of Durham.
Thank you.
City of Winston-Salem. I'm not finished. City of Winston-Salem. City of Greensboro. City of Charlotte, Mecklenburg County. And City of Raleigh. All of them have an office. If they don't have one, they're getting ready to establish one. I know Winston is just recent. And the City of Fayetteville is in the process of establishing one. City of Fayetteville and Cumberland County is in the process of starting one because the director or interim director for the Fayetteville Cumberland Human Relations Commission and Department, she just finished her program that she had to go through in order to have the certification to be able to run a Office of Equity and Inclusion. So I know that they're in the process of developing an Office of Equity and Inclusion. But those are the places so far in the state that do have cities in the state that do have Office of Equity and Inclusion at their places.
Thank you, Mr. Troy.
My question is around going back to the slide when you mentioned some things that we could like partake in, which is to become a hate violence information network.
Yes.
I've never really heard that term before. What does that actually look like?
What do you mean? What does it actually look like?
So as an Asheville Human Relations Commission, how can we position ourselves to become a hate violence information network?
You would have to vote on it as a group to see whether you want to be a part of it. What I can do is send you, I can send you the hate group and hate activity log form. And I can also send you a copy of the 2021 hate group bias incidents log to give you an idea of what incidences are being reported in North Carolina. And right now I can give you a list of the commissions that are in the network. Okay. Most of them are. There's some that are not, but I think they're eventually are going to join. But most of them are members of the network.
So you mentioned like hate groups, but what's been coming to my attention lately is just like that hate harassment in the workplace, especially for Black men on construction sites.
Mm-hmm.
And I know in our ordinance, it didn't mention that we are a hub to take in complaints like that. But I guess I just wanted to know more about that. And I realized that does take an additional step that I would definitely, just look to the leadership of our Madam Chair for further conversation.
Yeah, I would suggest this, and this is where the technical assistance comes in, is that any type of employment discrimination that is being occurred at a place that has a staff of at least 15 or more people, they can file a complaint with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, EEOC.
Mhm.
And the reason being is because there's not a state law that allows a state agency to investigate employment discrimination other than our office, and we investigate state employees' claims of discrimination of employment. But as far as businesses, the EEOC is the office that would do that. And there is a provision under the Civil Rights Act for employment discrimination that there should not be any type of harassment or any type of coercion or threats or intimidation at the work site. This is plain and simple, because there's also a similar provision under the Fair Housing Act where it talks about that there should be no threats, intimidation, harassment, or coercion from anyone, from a person who had a racial harassment that is receiving threats either from a neighbor, from a landlord, from a property manager, from a building maintenance person to whomever. That's a similar provision under the Federal Fair Housing Act, as well as under the Civil Rights Act for employment. So you're right, you would not be able to do it, because that's one thing you cannot do as a commission. You can't enforce those laws, but you can refer them to other agencies or other organizations that can do something about it. And that's the other part of what you do. If you can't enforce it, but you can provide them information as to where persons need to go to be able to go to that next step and filing a fair housing complaint, or an employment discrimination complaint, or a public accommodations complaint, which would be with Department of Justice, U.S. Department of Justice. So even though you couldn't enforce it, you still have a resource or resources, or can find out from me where those resources they need to go, as far as to go to those resources to get that done. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Gene, if I may also just add to your thorough explanation there, that on top of those resources, we also have a local non-discrimination ordinance, which was passed by the city council, that expands the protections all the way down to even 1 or 2 employees of a business, whereby through our Office of Equity Inclusion, in conjunction with the City Attorney's Office, we will investigate complaints of discrimination for a variety of categories, including race, in both public accommodations and in private employment. So for those particular instances, we would add to your toolbox, referring those to the city's NDO. The city's website has those complaint forms and all of the rules laid out for anyone to utilize.
And Brad, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was just told like last week that all of the Office of Equity Inclusions are now going to their city councils and coming up with that ordinances in their local areas, so that they can begin to look into employment discrimination cases. So I appreciate you telling me, reminding me of that. I was just told last week, as a matter of fact, Wake County just adopted theirs last week, and Raleigh's in the process of doing theirs. So, and Winston-Salem has already done theirs, as well as Durham, they've done theirs, and Greensboro's in the process, and Fayetteville, Cumberland's in the process. So I appreciate you reminding me of that. I totally forgot that, but yeah, you're right. Because they have those, the cities have those ordinances, including Asheville, they can go beyond, a little bit more beyond than just going to the EEOC. Any other question? I think somebody else had a question. I thought I saw another one pop up.
I have a question in regards to complaints and the process of complaints through the HRCA. So if when we hear a complaint, or a complaint comes to us, whether it be from, most likely it would be from the community or from the residents of Asheville to regarding the city of Asheville at some level, what is the complaint process with relation to the non-discrimination ordinance that was just passed, and how can we support that process and the people that are coming to complain?
Well, that process would be through Brad's office and Aaron's office. You would have to ask them what kind of process that they've got in place, if they've got one, because I think a lot of places don't even have a process in place yet. They're developing processes because this is a totally new thing that's happening across the state. So the process would have to go through Brad and Aaron possibly, as far as, you know, what procedures are with that process. So you would need to talk with them about that. But like I said earlier, I do know that all the other places are developing processes as far as if any complaints come to them concerning the city, then they're developing that process as we speak. Because a lot of them, like I said earlier, those cities that I just told you about, they've already either had their ordinance passed through the city, but I don't know whether they've already developed the process to as far as receiving complaints yet. But I'm pretty sure they're doing it, because if the cities have already voted on it and said yes, then they've got to have a process in place in order to get that done.
And Madam Chair, I will jump in and just say that there is a current process. So if a citizen were to bring a complaint to to your commission, you could provide the information to Ms. Mills or myself or Brad, and there is a process currently in place where complaints can be filled out both online or in person, as well as anyone who a complaint is against can also respond via online and in person. And there is a process internal process in place in order to investigate any complaints under the city's non-discrimination ordinance.
Wonderful. And for the public, is there a process to do that anonymously if fear of retaliation is present?
So in order to, the complaint form is not anonymous. We do provide the full complaint to the respondent in order for them to understand what is occurring and what the complaint is against them. We do provide that information. However, our office, as well as in conjunction with Ms. Mills' office, work conjointly in order to investigate the complaints and move forward with any complaint that's received with the city. And if anyone has any questions, they can feel free to reach out to Ms. Mills or myself or Brad if they have any questions about the process or any concerns, or if they just want, prior to completing a complaint, just have some preliminary questions about the process.
Thank you, Erin. Thank you, Jean. I believe Commissioner Daniel Young has his hand raised.
Yes, I was wondering why we're not addressing the situation that's going on with the high schools, the middle school, with the racism that's been targeted towards our kids through the schools, and what can we do about that?
I don't know what's going. I don't know what the issues are there. I would have to have an idea as to what is going on there in order to be able to give you a response. I don't know what exactly is going on.
Well, a lot of the kids are being targeted. Well, let's just be as point blank as possible. A lot of the black kids are being targeted by the principals at Irwin High School. They're being written up. They get more referrals than the white other students. They've been singled out, and I mean, this right now, what they're doing, what's happening is it's going to affect them getting into colleges, and it's going to affect them. Period.
Mm-hmm.
What we do about this? I mean, we're gonna address something. I think this right here needs to be addressed as well.
Well, that would be something that you would definitely need to bring at the retreat. And then also, too, that you would have to consider what kinds of action steps you could take as a commission. Is that high school, first of all, is that high school in the city?
No, it's in the county.
See, that's gonna be a problem. Because if it's not in the city, then they're gonna question why is the city commission wanting to deal with the high school that's outside of the city?
One, we got kids that's in the county, and I mean, if we truly doing this for our community, everybody should matter.
I understand that. I definitely understand that, Commissioner Young. But let me do this. Let me ponder on it, and then let me get back to Brenda and Tanya about that. Because even though you as a commission are designated for the city, there may be some outside steps that you can do to try to see what you can do to deal with that issue, even though it's not necessarily a city school that's in the city.
All right,
Can I add something? Buncombe County has a human relations work group that you probably can reach out to for county schools.
Okay, can y'all send me that information so that I can touch base with them to see where they're at and those kinds of things?
Thank you. Commissioner Melanie Noyes as their hand up.
Hi, yes, thank you, Mr. Troy, so much for being here. I feel more oriented already, so thank you so much for your time. Something in Asheville that I think most folks here can agree is a huge issue is affordable housing. I was just wondering if you knew of any cities that we could look to as an example that have passed affordable housing policy recommendations to their city council, just to reference.
I'm laughing because it's the same question I got on Thursday night from the commission in Pitt County. I cannot name a city right now that you could go to. However, what I can do is provide you with an agency that talks about the positives of having affordable housing in your local area. The North Carolina Housing Finance Agency. Back in 2018, when we first started doing the statewide meetings for the local commissions, one of the first meetings we had was with the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency, talking about what are the positive items concerning having affordable housing in a city. And they named them, and they also indicated that they have those things listed on their website. And they are also willing to provide you with information and guidance as far as, well, not guidance, but information that they have concerning the positives of having affordable housing in a city. And so, like I said, I can't give you a city right now because all of them are struggling with that issue, including Raleigh. I can tell you right now, I live in Raleigh, and right now, the issue now is that when you have essential workers are now having a problem being able to find affordable housing in the city, they're now having to move out of the city because the houses are overpriced right now. I could sell my house now for $200,000 more than what it's worth, all because of the reason why Google and Apple and Amazon are either moving here or are already here. Because you've already got those three businesses, the prices of the housing has just gone crazy. And so that's why in the current trends in North Carolina that I showed y'all, affordable housing is the top priority right now, or top issue in housing, but also one of the top issues in North Carolina. Now I know that I think there are some places that are trying to come up with ideas, but as far as actual plans in place, I don't know of any cities right now that have that. However, what I can do is ask those commissions that are on the list to see whether they have anybody in their areas have any plans for affordable housing in their cities, and get that information back to you so that you can have an idea as to whether there are cities that are actually implementing affordable housing plans.
That would be super helpful. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Brenda,
Brenda has a question.
So I just want to follow up with Mr. Jean's comments is that you have a community development office up under the Office of Community and Economic Development. We have a plan, folks. I think the idea is for us to bring folks in, the staff, and talk to you about what our comprehensive plan is. See, this is why we're glad Mr. Jean is here, because let's not make assumptions we're not doing something. We are, and we've been doing it for over 30 years. But I think just understanding what that process is, what we've recommended to City Council. We have a 216 bond that had $34 million in it. We're working with Community Land Trust. I mean, there's a lot going on. You have an affordable housing commission that makes recommendations to council. So I think bringing them in to kind of talk to you about how it all works would be great, because I think that would be helpful. And Commissioner Young popped out. I don't know if he had a problem with his video. Let's bring in some folks to talk about what are they going to do? What are they doing in terms of school policies? So maybe we can talk to the superintendents. It's talk, not get at the superintendents, but talk to the superintendents. And I mean it. I'm being serious, because if we're not respectful of people, they are not going to deal with us, and it's not going to help the issue. But I really want them to come and talk to you about what is the comprehensive process they got for county schools, for city schools, and what kind of things are in place. Just to say, we're here, we're concerned, and want to ask you some questions or really have a dialogue about what we can do as community members, as parents, as a board of the city, as a board of the county, to kind of see. So I think educating yourselves, that's going to be a large part of your year next year, is really finding out what do we do now, and what can we recommend to be added to what is already being done to support the work that these folks are doing. And it's a lot going on, and I know it's hard to keep up with, but we can identify some of that during your retreat.
And Melanie and Brenda, let me just add this part to Melanie's part or question. That office that she mentioned, the Office of, what was it, Community and what, Brenda? What was it?
Community Economic Development.
Okay. That office right there, they have to do a fair housing plan.
Exactly.
They are required to do a fair housing plan, and they also are required to do affordable fair housing plans as well, by HUD, not by us, by HUD. They are to develop a plan. And so Brenda has made a great suggestion that and that might be one of your subcommittees, housing subcommittee, that the subcommittee come in and ask them to come in and talk to you about what kind of affordable housing plans are being are considered, and what can we do to help if they have a plan in place as a commission. Because you could probably make a recommendation to the city council and say, look, we spoke with the Office of Economic Development and Planning. I'm sorry. I always say economic development, economic planning, and talked with them. And they told us they have an affordable housing plan in place. And we are recommending that the city move forward with that affordable housing plan, and make sure that when you do present it to them, that you got the community support on it as well, that you let everybody know that, hey, we're getting ready to make this recommendation. Are you in for this or not? A lot of them are going to be, because that's the money, that's their pockets. that they're talking about. And if there's an affordable plan in place, then there are going to be people that are going to be interested in wanting to buy those affordable housing that they're putting in place. So yeah, that's another thing that you may want to consider doing. But they are required by HUD to follow a fair housing plan, as well as trying to develop affordable, they call it affordable furthering, I can't even think. It'll come to me, but there's an acronym for it, and I can't think of it right now, but it is talking about fair housing and affordable housing.
Thank you. I believe Commissioner Tiffany is next.
Just FYI, I put the link to the Buncombe County Equity Work Group, just for anyone who just want to jump in there and just see what they're doing pertaining to the Buncombe County schools. Jean, going back to when we have to come together as a commission and have our retreat and decide on our human relation issues, is it best practice or a good idea to pull or to look at our ordinance and those key components in our ordinance and draw from there rather than making up new ideas?
Yeah, you definitely need to have your ordinance. You definitely have to need your bylaws there. And you definitely should develop your plan around some of the things that are mentioned in the bylaws and ordinance. That's what happened with a lot. That's what the commissions did when they had their retreats, is that they brought in their ordinance, they brought in their bylaws, and they talked about what is it indicating on those bylaws, what are the duties that are mentioned in the bylaws and in the ordinance. And they developed the plan and they put action steps towards those things that they indicated in their plan. So yeah, I would definitely suggest that you consider those duties and responsibilities as a part of your plan and in developing those human relations issues.
Thank you. I hope we heard that.
I wouldn't let that happen, that we wouldn't have a retreat without the bylaws and the ordinance there. I'd be like, no, we're gonna do this the right way,
Daniel Young.
So Commissioner Daniel Young.
Yes, Jane, you was talking about that we can help with how we got a housing situation in Hillcrest where the residents are living in a house that's full of rats, is mold infested. The snakes all in the projects, and I myself went over there, took pictures. I know the city council has seen these pictures, and nothing has been done. So I mean, it's like when we do share these problems to the city council members, nothing is done.
My question would be, first of all, do you have to have a minimum, Aaron and Brad, do y'all have a city minimum housing code? Do you know of?
Yes, we absolutely do.
Yeah, I think that could be something that could be.
Kids don't even have a sprinkler system in them.
Huh? I couldn't hear you.
Doesn't even have sprinkler systems in them.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that might be something. That can be considered as far as a possible minimum housing code issue. But I don't know what the minimum housing code says. It would have to be looked into to see whether if it meets the minimum housing code or not. I'm talking about the property you're talking about. So I'm not sure, but that might be something that may be considered in that kind of a situation. Brent, did Brenda you had your hand up, Brenda?
I did. I want to encourage all of you, if there are complaints that are within the city, and if you don't know who to call, you can send those directly to me, because we do have a minimum housing code. We have Russell Rowe deals with landlords. I'm not sure if I heard him correctly because his internet was a little wobbly. I don't know if he said it was the housing authority or if he just said a house, but we can, that can be reported the address and all that stuff can be reported, and the owner will be made to put their house up to code, or the folks, you know, and then maybe we can get them some assistance to live someplace else if there's a problem. Commissioner Young, I was saying that as you have issues with if you have issues where people need some assistance and you don't know what to call, just send those to me. And can I ask y'all not to chat, because this is people are on the phone listening and they can't read your chat. So if you could just raise your hand and give your wonderful information, that would be great. Thank you.
Any other questions? I want to make sure I'm helping y'all out as much as possible. Melanie.
Yeah, you had mentioned that something else that we are able to do is ask for funding for different programs.
Yes.
In the city. Is that something that we would write and ask for, and then city council would vote on whether or not to approve that funding? It seems pretty basic, but I just want to make sure that I understand the process of asking for funds.
Oh, well, first of all, one of the things is that, okay, do y'all happen to have a copy of the some activities local human relations commissions do? Y'all have that with you? I hope you do. What that list is a list of activities that other commissions have done across the state, okay? So all I did was write down what kinds of events or workshops or seminars that could be done that you can do. Now I'm not sure, and I don't know, you know, you're gonna have to talk to Brenda and Aaron and Brad as to what kinds of funds you got, okay? So I don't know, because I don't want to know. I don't want to know. But what you do have to do is see what types of funds you have, and then go from there. Now, I can tell you some of the things that you can do is not going to be that much money, but then there are going to be other things that you do that you probably are going to need money. But it just depends on what you're planning to want to do. You know, if you're planning to have a seminar on fair housing, that doesn't take very much. You know, you can have that at a city building, and you have, you know, technology, or you don't even have to have it in a building. You have it virtual, so that doesn't cost very much. But if you're wanting to do international festival, right? And you're inviting all these different cultures to come and have a booth at a city park, and they're not giving out, but there are people can come and try the different types of food from every booth, from every type of culture there. And, you know, they're going to cost, because, you know, people are going to want to pay for the food, but also they want to probably have to pay for their time to be there. If you have food trucks there for each type of cultural type of food that you're talking about for that International Day. So it just depends on the event or the workshop or the seminar that you're talking about as to the cost of it. So that's something that you would have to talk with as far as Brenda is concerned, because she would then need to look into how much you have and how much you can use to be able to move forward. The other thing is, two things that come to mind is that by you as a commission, I mean, you have the ability to do the events, the workshops, and the seminars. But not only that, you know, if you are actually doing what the bylaws and the ordinance has instructed you to do, and you have provided some events and seminars and workshops to the community, then there may be you've done done those events, and you want to do more, but you see that the money is not enough, then you would be able to report. You have to have an annual report to the city council, and you have to report to them as to what it is you did And then you would say, well, these are some things we want to do, but it's going to cost this amount of money, which we don't have. Can we get this kind of money? And if you have done what you're saying, what you have been required to do by the city ordinance and the bylaws that you have, and you can prove that you are using that money wisely to prevent, sponsor or co-sponsor those events, then you can present that to the city council to see if they're willing to give you more money in order for you to do the events that are going to cost more. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it totally does. Thank you so much. Have you seen job fairs being one of these kinds of events or activities that?
Yeah, I've seen job fairs. I've also seen, I shared this with Tanya and Brenda. I've also seen fair housing fairs or housing fairs where you have a place where you bring in creditors, mortgage loan people, brokers, realtors, and you invite people that are interested in buying housing to the housing fair, and they go to those booths and talk to them about their credit, talk to them about getting a loan. The city has a first-time homeowners program, I'm pretty sure. If they don't have one, banks do, credit unions do. You can invite them there, and a lot of people go to those things to see if they're eligible to be able to buy a house. And that's more tax money to the city if they can buy. So what you're doing is you're helping the city trying to get more homeowners in order for them to be able to pay more taxes to the city through buying the home. So yeah, I've seen job fairs, I've seen housing fairs, all kinds of fairs. So yeah, but there is a list. I hope you have that list and you can take a look at it. And what I did is I stole some ideas from them in order for them to for other commissions to do events. And sometimes in this line of work, you don't necessarily create, you actually rip off ideas from other commissions. And they do work. They do actually work. Any more questions?
Right now, it looks great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Well, if no more questions, I appreciate the time that you've given me, and I appreciate your attentiveness. And I'm here if you need, any technical assistance or any kind of assistance. I am here. Brenda and Tanya have my number and my email address. They can give them to you. As a matter of fact, if you have a copy of the presentation that I gave today, my email and my telephone numbers are indicated on at the last page of the presentation. And if you want to get in contact with me, you can either by phone or email. If I'm not here, leave a message and I will get back to you as soon as possible. But I appreciate the time this evening to be able to present to you this information.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gene. You brought it. Thank you.
One last thing before I go. I do want to tell you this, all the commission members that are listening. Two things that I would like to tell you. In order for this commission to be successful, one thing that I definitely tell you is that you're going to need to throw your egos out the door. And you're going to need to have a heart for people. People are hurting. People are wanting some type of response to the things that they are hurting when it comes to human relations issues. And so if you want to be successful, throw your egos out the door and work hard to make sure that the commission is successful. Because once you are successful, you will have a lot of great credibility from the community. If you're not successful, and you have egos, the public will know it and will not give you the respect that you are due. Okay? This is from experience. I've had commissions who members on their commissions that had egos and their commissions did not succeed, all because of the egos of the members that were on the commission. And those commissions are no longer in existence. And so those are some of the things that I wanted to make sure I told you tonight. Because when you succeed, all the other local commissions succeed as well. Okay? Because all the other local commissions are excited to know that Asheville has a human relations commission and that Asheville is going to try to work as hard as they can to deal with the human relations issues that are affecting the city of Asheville. And there are a lot of people in this field that have a lot of experience dealing with human relations issues. If you look on that list of local human relations commissions, I can tell you 3 people who have a total of close to 100 years of experience, total together, 100 years of experience in human relations issues that are on that list. And so, throw your egos out the door. Try to make sure that you're helping the community with the human relations issues that are affecting Asheville. That's my time. I gave you that one for free.
Thank you, Gene.
All right. Y'all take it easy. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. You too. Y'all, Gene is a really good resource, and I encourage you to reach out to him as much as you can for whatever things that come up, because he is there. And he does this work in a way that's heart-centered and heartfelt and led by his heart. But he's no BS too. You know, he keeps it real, which is a real important part to reel in the passion, you know, and then he brings that into direction. So please reach out to him, connect with him, and yeah, thank you all for showing up for this presentation today. Commissioner Tiffany Davila.
I just want to take a minute to say thank you also to our city staff and to Brenda Mills for just the information that you gave us through the emails and keeping us abreast with, you know, our meetings. It's really helpful. So thank you. I know that takes a lot of work too.
And thank you to me for bringing him in.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you
Madam
to me
Chair,
for organizing it, for reaching out to him and saying, we need your help here. Please come see us and give us a presentation. That's the extent of my ego. So moving on, we have next item up for business, new business. There is none right now. Probably most likely we'll move to a space of organizing a retreat. I believe we can do that by doodle poll, which will probably be sent out in the next week or so to figure out when that would be the best time. Next item up for business is staff updates. Reparation nomination and application process. It's due November 1st. Brenda Mills, you've got the mic.
I'm going to encourage each of you to take that survey, to go in there to review those. There's 3 packages. There's one for anyone who has an interest. They don't necessarily want to be a part of the board or be nominated by a neighborhood. but they want to offer some resource or information to the commission during the 19-20 months that we're working. And then there's a nomination form for neighborhoods. We've been really centering in on the historically impacted African-American neighborhoods. And then there's one for people in the 5 focus area impact areas. So those will be vetted by the city council and the board of commissioners. And then the other maybe update or just some information. I know having a retreat before 5 is difficult because a lot of people are still at work. I know Ms. Venable was still at work. I'm sure some other people were traveling. So I'm gonna suggest, since during the day, I'm wondering if you would be amenable to having a retreat on a Saturday. Because, 3 hours at 5 o'clock in the evening is a lot, even for me. So it's only once. We're not talking about meeting every month. I'll put out some dates and we'll just see how we go, because I don't want to interrupt people's work hours. I know everybody can't just get off work and be here at 4 o'clock, so we want to honor that. So if that's something you can do, and please, everyone respond to the doodle poll, because that way we know, what you can and cannot do, and then we'll just kind of figure out something that would work best for most people. Okay, so, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Brenda. Next item up for business, unfinished business. There is none on the agenda. Oh, Commissioner Weinbrenner.
Yeah, I had a question for Brenda. I was wondering if there'd been any movement on the hiring of the outstanding positions for the Office of Equity and Inclusion.
Yes, this is Brenda Mills, staff liaison. I'm in the process. Human Relations has looked at the applications. I got almost 150. So you can imagine, between doing reparations, I have a lot going on. So I'm going to finish those up, get those back to HR this week, and then we're going to be setting up phone interviews for all 3 of the positions. So hoping to have some people to make offers to by the end of November. But it's going to be a process because I have 3 people to hire. So
that's good news. Thank you, Ms. Mills.
Thank you, Commissioner Weinbrenner. Thank you, Brenda. Community announcements. Do we have any community announcements to bring to the public today? Commissioner Chandler?
Thank you. It's relatively short notice at this point. However, Little Rhine University, where I work, we have a ribbon cutting for our Equity and Diversity Institute that's open to the public tomorrow. If you would like to attend, hang out, and meet some of our equity networking partners, it's at the Chamber of Commerce at 36 Montfort Avenue downtown. You're welcome to come, have a drink. Girl Go Cook is catering, and I couldn't be more excited about it. I don't know if y'all know Robin. I think she's awesome. But anyhow, so the Equity and Diversity Institute for Lenore University ribbon cutting tomorrow. It's between 4 and 6. Probably most of it will be over around 4:45. So if you want to come after work and just get some food and drinks, that's also great. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Chandler. Are there other community announcements? Commissioner Melanie Noyes.
Yeah, I just wanted to let people know that a couple weeks ago, if you didn't already know, Homeward Bound was able to sign the contract to actually own the property over at the Old Days Inn. So it is theirs now. They can start doing renovations. So that's really exciting because they couldn't really start doing anything to the shelter yet until it was completely theirs. So yeah, thanks to the city, they were able to get that done. So that's exciting. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Noyes. Do we have another community announcement this evening? Moving on to our next item up for business, which is live public comment. Did we have anybody in the queue or did anybody write in?
Madam Chair, this is your staff liaison, Brenda Mills. You have no live callers on the line, and there were no emails or voicemails left for the commission.
Wonderful. I'd like to take this moment to welcome our new commissioners, Commissioner Harvey Harold, and looks like Commissioner Marilyn Rayner blinked out, but Commissioner Harvey Harold, welcome to the Asheville Human Relations Commission, and it's good to have you on board, and the mic is yours.
Yes, thank you. I had some problems getting in. I probably missed about 20-25 minutes of the meeting, but I was determined to get in. I'm a veteran. I got that in me. And like I said, I'm glad to be here, and hopefully I'll be a welcome addition to the commission. And like I say, I'm glad to be here to contribute.
Thank you, Commissioner. We're glad you're here.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
If there's no other item up, no other business item on the agenda beyond future agenda items, which we can discuss in the retreat, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second that.
Roll call vote. Commissioner Alex Nava.
Here.
Is that a
What are
yes to adjourn?
Yes, to adjourn. Sorry.
Thank you, Commissioner Nava. Commissioner Devolo.
Yes.
Commissioner Weinbrenner.
Yes.
Commissioner Dolores Venable.
Yes.
Commissioner Susie Chandler.
Yes.
Commissioner Melanie Noyes.
Yes.
Commissioner Harvey Harold.
Yes.
Commissioner Daniel Young.
Yes.
So move, we are adjourned. Thank you very much for being here tonight. It was great to be a part of this wonderful meeting, and we look forward to seeing you all next month and in the retreat. Thank you, Asheville. Keep it real. See you next time.
Good night.
Night.